Hello, I'm Emma-Louise Coffey and you're welcome to the Dairy Edge, the Teagasc Dairy podcast. We're bringing you the latest information, insights and opinion to improve dairy farm performance. In an effort to continue the Dairy Edge weekly while maintaining social distancing, we will be recording remotely, so bear with us in our endeavours. Meanwhile, back to this week's episode. While agriculture hasn't been the most affected industry by COVID-19, we must take all the necessary steps and measures to protect ourselves, our families and our staff. This week, I speak to dairy farmer Kevin Twomey about what measures he is taking to minimise the risk of COVID-19 to his farming people and business.
I suppose we had the foot and mouth, close on 20 years ago now, and that caused a lot of disruption at the time, major disruption in fairness, to be fair, but particularly to farming at that particular time, because there was a livestock virus that was being spread. So that was probably a bigger worry at the time, I think, for farmers, because it could have taken out your herd of cows overnight. So yeah, things like this do happen, and we do recover, and we do move on. And I think the best thing we can do is follow the advice we've been given and work as closely as we can to that.
And you allude to it, that people are dealing with whole herds of cows, and we do have to keep moving. And I suppose we're fairly unique in the industry we're working in. And when the decision was made to close schools and work from home, that's essentially not an option for the industry we're working in. And we need to keep the industry moving and protect the food chain. I suppose, for a way of context, Kevin, can you give us an idea of the team size that you're working with within your farm business?
Okay, so I suppose we're involved in a few farms. So our home farm here, we would have there'd be 3 full-time staff, and we're making over 480 cows. And our smallest unit then is about 180 cows, and there's one person full-time with a bit of part-time coming in there. So that's kind of the range of businesses that we're trying to manage at the moment.
So as you've alluded to it, there's a range. So you're talking from 1 to 3 full-time members of staff. So what are the key steps that you're taking, as a team to minimise the risk of COVID-19 to human health and to, I suppose, the effective running of the farm businesses?
Well, to minimise, I suppose the big one is the contact. So I suppose we do work in an environment where it's probably easier for us to work in that most of the work is outdoors, or it can be done by one person. So lucky enough, all our parlours can be operated by one person, so the second person doesn't have to be in right alongside them or anything like that. So that's really useful. The other thing would be encouraging staff and telling them not to travel in a tractor together or travel in a jeep together, and just to keep their spatial distance as much as they can. The other, I suppose, contact would be, just being careful if they're handling the same equipment. I suppose is the one thing we'd be trying to avoid, is that just one person does the tractor driving and whatnot for that time. So they're the basic steps, I suppose. And also we have protocols from our co-op in terms of milk collection and stuff. So we're adhering to that, where we're cleaning down the contact points that the milk and lorry driver would have as well.
And I suppose, not to dwell on it too much, but when we look to this time of year, it's particularly busy. It's the busiest time of year, not just for dairy farms, but also we see on dry stock farms, there's the suckler cows are calving, and we also have ewes lambing. And you talk about there is a strategy where a lot of the jobs can be done by one person, but often, it is, the tasks on farms are 2 people jobs. Looking to the farms, yeah. Kevin, is there a strategy where you can work with bare minimum staff at this time of year? Say for example, if one staff member has to self-isolate, that might wipe out 3 people on the home farm if they're in contact yes. with that person. So, what is your thinking or your planned strategy where you're in a situation where, staff are potentially out of the system for 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, I think we have to be a small bit real to ourselves, is that this is probably going to happen rather than possibly, given what we're being told and the scaling up of the virus will be. So we've had to kind of try and readjust, I suppose, our plans in terms of okay, we can operate with one person on a farm just to do the meetings, but if that person gets sick, we have to be sure that the next person can step in and milk the cows as well. So we're lucky enough we have an option in terms of we have about 3 people who can milk in each farm or can run each farm if they have to. So we can move people from farm to farm to make sure that happens. So that's a plan we have. The other thing we're trying to, I suppose, plan for is that just to minimise the workload as well. So trying to take all these extra work out of it. So just the bare milking gets done, the calves can be fed, and the cows get fed, and it can drop all the other work if we're down to a skeleton staff situation. And I think we have to be real that it is a possibility of happening. So we just have to bear that in mind. There's 1 or 2 family members within my own house. My own son could step in and milk, and in any one of the farms, and I can do the same as well. So we have backup, let's say, for that, and I'd expect that we will use it a bit. But we have to be careful with ourselves as well. So we can't be just going from farm to farm. So we have to minimise that contact. So it's about trying to pick one sub, let's say, to come in and run that farm if the main man can't do it.
And I guess that, you've made a really good point that there are 3 people that are capable of running each of the farms. And, that is something that we talk about. If the event happens that the manager or the farm owner has to step away from the farm, and we often talk about through illness, but as you say, it's a very real thing at the moment due to the COVID-19 situation. But who are these people? Are they identified? And often we talk about the SOPs or standard operating procedures that, they are in place, whether it's written or a video, that somebody could walk in off the street, whether it's a neighbour, another staff member, to carry on the tasks as if you were there yourself.
Yeah, so we would have whiteboards in the parlours, and they all record the cows currently under treatment. So on that whiteboard you would have the list of cows and their treatment and the date, but also they'd be colour coded, so cows are marked in different colours. So red would be cows that are on treatment and are running a separate herd anyway, a small second herd. So they're a better chance of being minded and never getting mixed up with the main herd. And so we have a few different SOPs or colour coding systems that we have up on the whiteboard, and they're very clear, so everyone knows that, and they're pretty much the same across the farms. Different guys might have different colours maybe, but we can, it's all written up on the board, so it's easy for anyone to come in and know what happens here. Also, we have a one-pager. Mostly a one-pager we can get on is just how to run the milking machine from start to finish. So that's written on the board as well. But I particularly like the idea that you mentioned there about a video, and I think it's something that's very easy to do, and we intend to do it, do one this evening and do the other farms tomorrow. Is just take a video of a guy, one of us just actually starting the milking process and finishing the milking process, and it won't take long to do it. So if I get one of my own kids just to video me going through the routine, at least it's there, and we can put that out in the WhatsApp to whoever needs to come in and run the pad, or at least they can know how to start and finish anyway. So a few small things like that can be a great help, because it can be very hard to explain the things over a phone when fellas can't visualise it. So it's great to have something maybe that they can look at as well,
And another point you made, Kevin, is looking at doing the bare minimum of jobs where there's the staff are gone off the farm, and minimising the workload. Talk through what you're doing tractor-wise on the farms. Are you doing it all, or are you contracting in a lot?
So we contract a bit. So we do some fertiliser, but we contract probably 80% of it. We contract nearly 100% of our slurry at this stage. The fencing and stuff we do ourselves. with all of our work. We feed out the cows mostly ourselves from now on. In the peak winter months, we might get a contractor to do it when we have a lot of cows to feed together. But that can be contracted out too. But now, look, they're out of grass, hopefully full time from now on, so that will become a bit easier. So using contractors as much as we can. And I suppose in terms of getting the contractor spread fertiliser, we would have a map of the farm and we just colour in the fields we want him to fertilise, so we can just hand him the map and we just drive off out in front of him and open all the gaps for him so he can go off and spread away and close the gaps in as soon as he's gone. So we haven't much interaction with the contractors really, in terms of particularly in this situation now where you don't want to be talking to them face to face. We can do it remotely if you want, you know.
So that's a simple tip to take from that, Kevin. Use the farm map to, I suppose, identify which paddocks, and you're taking it a step further in that you're opening the gaps. So you're not leaving it to chance in terms of them getting it 100% right. And I suppose another element of contracting that we would see in a lot of farms is breeding. And I know we're a month to 6 weeks away from breeding at this stage, but it would be on the back of people's minds. So, you know, any tips for, you know, the breeding season, how we're going to, I suppose, ensure that cows are AI'd and the right straw is used for each cow while minimising that social contact?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways. I think it depends on the number of bulls you're using and stuff like that. So what we have done the last couple of years is we've used ICBF. So we've picked our team of bulls and got ICBF mating program and matched up the cows. But what we've tried to simplify that, because there could be a lot of bulls still be pulled up at any one time. So what we do now is we just run the program for a week, and we pick 3 bulls for the week. And there are 3 different types of bulls in terms of kind of what we want to achieve, whether it's milk solids or fertility or whatever. So there's only 3 bulls going to be ever used one day. So we can actually run the program for a week, print that off. We draft the cows in for AI. And now if you really want to cut down contact, you can actually break the groups of cows into 3. So you can have 1 bull for that set of cows, 1 bull for another set of cows, and just leave the cows there for the AI man. So he knows then clearly then it comes in and that bush there are getting whatever, ZCK or something like that, you know. So you could do it that way. I think it's just, you would need less contact with the AI man then to do that. Leave a list and leave the cows clearly identified. And maybe you can put, you know, 1 batch up the crush for him and walk away and let him AI, and then when he's finished you can put the other batch up and while he's changing the straws. So it's just trying to simplify it so it's easier for the AI man and easier for us as well in terms of what's happening, because sometimes when there's a 6 or 7 bulls got used on any one day, it becomes very complicated, and you kind of have to be there right alongside your AI man to be at that. So we've just looked to try to space that out a bit easier.
And finally, Kevin, if we look to, I suppose, team morale and maintaining high spirits during this difficult time, what are you doing as a team, you know, to maintain morale, given it's the busy time of year and there's such a lack of contact? Yeah,
it's probably never so much for people, probably kind of a bit more isolated across the whole country in any sector or family at the moment. It's quite unique and quite different. So, you know, talking and probably listening, I suppose, are the 2 key things we would see, just to keep up that contact, going through what's happening. I suppose being a good support to see, can you go in then and problem solve if you're having any different particular issue on the farm or anything like that. So it's the small things really that matter probably now at the moment. You know, how are all the calves going, and are we getting them out to grass now, or are we getting them sold off the farm, or whatever needs doing, just to try and help along the way. And particularly, we'd be very much into this and emphasise that workload now. You're probably after 6-7 weeks of really hard work, and particularly the weather was tough there for a good bit of it, is to actually a small bit of downtime if you can, that they probably can't go anywhere in terms of going to do anything, but I think it's that they know themselves the pressure's off. They don't have to be too busy now. Just because the weather is brilliant doesn't mean you get very busy at fencing all of a sudden, that you just take a couple of hours on a day like today when the sun is out, that you just get time to breathe, I suppose, is for the want of a better word. So just listening, reassurance, and keep the head up, and things will come good too.
And I think it's a great point you make, Kevin. Taking the time to refuel, as you say. Spring is hard enough, but the weather exacerbated that this spring and made things a little bit more difficult on farms. I think maybe just to touch on two health and safety points, you mentioned people are doing a lot of jobs independently at the moment, so it would be very important that people keep their phones on them at all times and keep them charged in case they get into a spot of bother, that they can contact somebody easily. And also you mentioned, children are at home from school, so children may be around the farm more than they would normally be on weekdays. So just to be conscious of that, moving animals and moving machinery.
It's a very fair point. I think because there is a lot of children, and to be fair, probably lucky in that our children are on the countryside and they can get out and do a few jobs for us. But certainly being very aware that their kids in the yard is very important, or around cattle and stock. It's a good time to train children, to show them farming at its busiest and best. But certainly we need to be very health and safety conscious around them.
And thanks, Kevin. It is good to get some advice from a farmer on the ground who's dealing with the COVID-19 challenge. And I think looking at the individual units, as you say, there's a range of, 1 person to 3 people working on a farm. So we're looking, at a range of farms in terms of the number of cows and the labour required. And I suppose we just be conscious to look after ourselves and make sure that the stock are looked after at this time. And you've given us lots of ideas and strategies that we can action on our own farms. Thank you, Kevin.
Aye, no problem, Emma-Louise. And look, things will improve. And to be fair, there's a lot of other sectors a lot worse off than agriculture just right now. So, we've to support our community as well as ourselves and our families. So we have to encourage everyone. So thanks very much, Emma-Louise.
That's it for this week's episode of the Dairy Edge podcast, and my thanks to Kevin Twomey for joining me on this week's show. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe to the podcast. You can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify, and for more information go to the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie. I'm Emma-Louise Coffey, and join me next time for your Dairy Edge.